Hey guys, and welcome to the MrMaple Show. I'm on site at Buckholt's Nursery, and I've been starting to rummage through some of these Mikawa seedlings. I've found some really cool things, and every time I'm looking around, I find something amazing. So we're going to show you all a little bit of some of the seedlings that we've got evaluating here. Many of these seedlings are in their second year in these containers in Welsh and 1 gallon containers. We've got pinks, we've got reds. We're in April, actually late April of 2026. These trees have been in leaf for quite a while. Joel's been sending me photos of many of these trees as they're progressing. We got a lot of crazy Mikawa Yatsubusa variations happening in here. And I'm gonna take you around and sort of show you some of the things that I'm seeing in these sets, but then I'm gonna take you to where I've been pulling and some of the trees that I wanna continue to further evaluate as well. That's just the ones that I pulled out on this trip, not including the ones we've pulled before. So there's a lot of amazing things in these Mikawa Yatsubusa sets that are just drawing my eye. Just as we're walking around here, there's some trees like these two. You see that these had some spring interest and they've been holding their color for a decent period of time. The color's starting to fade a little bit, and so we're getting some of those mauve reds in here. You think about these trees being in leaf for almost a month and they're still holding some good color. That's pretty impressive. Here in Oregon, they've had a lot of cooler weather, and that does help them retain their color for a little longer period of time. But there's interesting things you can start to find as you start looking around. One of the things I start looking for is not just color, but I look for density, I look for leaf shape, I look for textures. And when we're looking around here, we start to see trees that have different colors, different leaf shapes and textures for sure. For instance, you know, we've got a sea here of a lot of trees that have a lot of green color. We start looking around here, and while this isn't a yellow, you know, I start to look at something like this that starts to show a little bit of lighter color, and it draws my eye. I want to look at it. Things that have different textures. For instance, this guy right here, the leaf shape's different, and the texture is dense. So the density of this is definitely something that draws my eye. As I'm looking up here, there's some funky things going on with the leaf. You know, I don't know if that's leaf damage or what, but as I start to look across the rest of the leaves, we start to see some little malting going on there as well. I look down low, I don't see that as much down there. So to me, density is nice, but it's not making the cut compared to some of the other ones I've found. I'm trying to look around and see what can stand out, what's different, and what makes the tree special. I mean, guys, we look at the same time frame, red panda looking pretty choice. And so you have to realize it has to be something that can compete with that for us to be able to continue to evaluate it. And that's hard to do. We have thousands of Mikawa seedlings, and the front we just talked about are just some of the Mikawa Yatsubusa seedlings there, but I've got some more right back down here, and you see these larger 1 gallons, a little bit older. I was just in this section here and just found an amazing tree I'll show you in a minute. It's like I've walked past it 50 times and somehow overlooked something amazing as I was walking through the greenhouse. Again, textures are important, density is important, color is important, but not as important as the others, because that truly tells you what can make these trees stand out. It's interesting. There are many Mikawa Yatsubusas that can have this style variegation. We see it had some pink colors or red, and you see that dusting right in there. And that dusting is a sign that this thing really had some great color in the early spring. It's faded out now though, so not making the cut as a Japanese princess or a Mayday type would do. And guys, I'm walking through here to see if I see anything else, because I've been pulling from this for the last 10, 15 minutes on things that I think were interesting texturally, interesting with variegation, with compact nature. And it's important to not just find something, but then to evaluate it. Since we have so many Mikawa Yatsubusa variations, we can really compare it and say, this thing's truly different. This is something that stands out from everything else that I've seen. Me and Corbin literally made ourselves come back here and start filming many of these Mikawa Yatsubusa types because we just kept going through and finding amazing trees. Look at the color on this one here. Some amazing deep red color. We've got some of that sand dusting color in that pink. Definitely shows promise for further evaluation. Definitely one that I'm gonna take and put with the pile here in a second. But it's important to look through and really give every tree a look because we need to be looking for yellows, we need to be looking for greens, we need to be looking for bronzes, oranges, reds, anything that can help it stand out from any other tree. And the texture of the leaf, I think, is probably one of the most important things. And the texture of the leaf, I think, is important to check out versus almost anything. It's easy to overlook a tree and walk by it a few times and then find something really special. So I've got another section over here of larger Mikawa Yatsubusa seedlings. And again, we've been looking through these for quite a few years, already pulling out our favorites, pulling out the most variegated sports. Check this out. This is the one I just found right now. This is a sport happening on Mikawa Yatsubusa. Check out the bronze. Check out this weird funky leaf. First time seeing that. And it kind of reminds me of how pinky's a weird sport on Mikawa Yatsubusa. This one's got a funky, mutated leaf from about this point forward with this bronze sport happening. I'm looking down here, I see a very healthy bark, so it's not like the tree's been damaged, but we've got something funky happening on this one branch. Something pretty cool and awesome. Again, just found that for the first time, and it's easy to overlook that. And so it's important to walk through time and time again and look and see what in the world is happening on these Mikawas. Guys, I've got some Mikawa Yatsubusa seedlings right over here. And I'll bring you back to this area here and show you some of the items I found on this trip. Check that out. That is dope. Look at the pink variegation on that. I mean, that reminds me of what I see on something like a Shin de Sojo with some amazing, like that's going to show some dynamic pink color, the way that is around each and every leaf on that. The dense habit on this is really nice as well. So I think this is a winner to set back here in a second and look through. It's really cool to check through and just give a good look over, because every time I walk through, it's like you see something you didn't see before. I know if any of y'all are here, y'all are big maple addicts. Y'all be doing the exact same thing I'm doing right now. Just digging through the Mikawa seedlings. What's different? What's standing out from the other trees? That's kind of funky. Check out the texture on that. The leaf kind of twists and curls a little bit, but it's a Mikawa seedling with a dense habit. That's a cool one to check out just because the texture is so unique. I actually like the texture on this one as well. It reminds me of something in somewhere between Seki Yatsubusa, not Seki Yatsubusa, Senkaku and Mikawa. At least somewhere in between on those. And there's one more section up here of Mikawa Yatsubusas to check out. Guys, I'm going to be taking you over to the items that I think are some of the most attractive that I've selected so far out of here. That one's kind of interesting. I might watch that one a little further as well. Now, not all of these that I'm selecting here are named, obviously. Many of these trees that we're looking at are going to be just further evaluated. And then if they don't make the cut, you know, they may go on eBay or something. That's what some of these seedlings here are doing through here. We've got some red spring interest Mikawa types that will be making it onto eBay, not through the Maple Mafia, but through Buckholtz Nursery, which is something new we're starting here at Buckholtz. All right, guys. Now is the time to show you some of my findings. Now, this is one that Corbin pulled out that had a nice dense habit, had some good color on top. He's actually running the camera right now. And you see just some good density to that one. That's kind of neat. This one had some yellowish color on top. Again, just thought I'd further evaluate it, see how it held up. Same with this one, a lighter color on top. You know, compare it to Mayday, compare it to some of the others, see how it stands. Let's check this one out. This is one I just found right before we started filming. I started looking, I said, that leaf cupping kind of reminding me of something like El Tigre. And then I started looking, boom, we've got variegation on that as well. And this is a Mikawa Yatsubusa seedling, not grafted. And we're starting to see that sport happening very similar to El Tigre. I have to compare it and see how it differs, how it grows differently. If it's got the same fall color, how quickly the variegation starts coming into the tree. But that's something that's kind of cool, just a unique variegated form. Guys, check out the funkiness on this one. We've got a real clustered type growth. Just a different leaf shape. Yeah, there's definitely some variegation right in there. But I mean, you watch it and you see some of the times variegation like that might not be as stable. And there's another right there, another curled little funky leaf to it, which shows that same style variegation Corbin just pointed out. There's a lot of spots on this tree too that have shortened center nodes. So it's kind of like, what in the world is going on with this tree? I'm seeing variegation, seeing shortened center nodes. I've got a lot of trees in here that just have color. And it's like, okay, let's look at that color a little bit further. I think that's important. You notice both these are reddish Mikawa seedlings, but this one has more serrated foliage. This one has larger foliage. So it's just something to compare, see what's out there, see how they stand out. But this is a unique trait that's been drawing my attention as well. If you look here, you can sort of circle in there, we're seeing a lot of shortened center nodes. We've got one that's doing this at MrMaple that we put the name Micro Mikawa on. Something to evaluate. But how's this one do? Or is this a witch's broom on a seedling? Because seedling genetics can show witch's broom-like traits. I think that's interesting. I don't know the genetics of what's going on there, but it's definitely something interesting. This is one that we may have pulled before. It looks similar to one we pulled before where the branches sort of go out laterally. Corbin grabbed this one again on this trip because this one is interesting. It's just got a lot of branches that, look, I mean, it's just like a twisting, contorting form that's going in different directions and curls with that Mikawa structure. Something that's, we'll have to see how that develops. As we're going down through here, this one had a really nice light color to it. But the branch, as you notice, isn't going up, it's going outwards and just has a slight curl to it. So we're like, well, could this possibly be a weeping Mikawa? I mean, if you look at that, the branch goes up and arches down. I mean, we'll just have to grow it and find out. And down through here, we've got a lot of Mikawa Yatsubusa seedlings that have some red to pink color. Again, we're looking to see, do these Mikawa seedlings stand out from what's out there already? Like this, that's pretty nice color. Now, y'all, I told you I'd show you these trees here that I've picked out on this trip. But let's go look at some Mikawa Yatsubusa sports and seedlings that we found on previous trips here at Buckholtz. All right, guys, I'm standing in to see some other items that people have pulled out for evaluation, some cool plants. As we're looking through here, this light green, that's variegation. A lot of variegation happening right here. You see with the darker green bronze that's happening, that is truly variegation on this style. that just starts to show you some of the variation that's in here. And as we start to get down through, you get some different textures. Check this out. It's got that twisting leaf. There's definitely some variegation happening that's causing that twist on the foliage, but then you have that tightly layering habit of Mikawa Yatsubusa. And as we start looking through here, there's a lot of variation. Again, we're seeing some pink variegations in one like this, and some red, some fall colors coming in, which is kind of unique. And you start to see that red color in there, fall color coming in, but with variegation as well. That's unique. It's interesting to see what you can find. This is one of those trees like we found that has a lot of witch's broom, short and center nodes on it. And all across this tree we see short and center nodes. It's got a shiny glossy leaf to it as well. Definitely one for further evaluation to see what stands out and makes things special. As I'm looking around here, you know, some of these things I've pulled in here on previous trips. Some of these are items that other people pulled in here. This is a Mikawa seedling, but it's upright. It's got a dense habit. It doesn't have that tightly layering structure as tight as Mikawa, but you wonder what this is going to turn out to be. Something fun, as always. As we're looking through here, check out the pink hues on this. Definitely had some good spring color. It was put in here for a reason. You know, it's further evaluation that's going to make these trees stand out. Check out this red that's back here. I think this is one of the more interesting ones I've seen. The leaf reminds me of like a Shana, but the red color is amazing on this. Deeply cut, almost like a Kamagata actually on the leaf, but with a Mikawa Yatsubusa habit. That is one of the cooler colors I've seen on a unique shaped Mikawa Yatsubusa. And then we've got some like this back here, where we have yellow variegation on green. So there's a lot of fun Mikawa Yatsubusa variations in this house, in this particular spot. Let's show you some that we've started to produce here at Buckholz that we've had an evaluation. Here's one, if you see here, that's got a unique leaf shape. The leaf is a little bit fatter, more elongated. Definitely a different unique shape for that. This is one of the better variegated forms that we found that has a lot of yellow variegation on it. Check out the yellow in here on the green. That is pretty awesome. It's been fairly consistent so far. And we trimmed on this, did some grafts, and we're starting to see some variegation popping off of where we grafted it. I'm hoping that's at a Rita Nishiki style, that the more you prune it, the better variegation it gets. So we'll learn more and more with that the more we grow this selection out. Guys, check this out. It's burning a little bit because it got some heat in here. But this is not pinky. This is another sport called orangey that actually leaves out orange. And then it goes to this pink color. Talon sent this to us years ago as a gift. And then we sent it back as soon as we bought Buckholz Nursery because we figured it would be better served here in our propagation methods and learning how to produce pinky. And if those are successful, we can really get to producing this as well. There's a lot of really cool trees back here. And this is one I hadn't even checked out before. But this is one that they're comparing against Mayday, and they put Mega Mayday. Just trying to see if this is something that's can stand out from Mayday. Apparently it had good colors and they compared it much to that. Now, take a seat. You don't want to fall over after checking out this one. This is a red Mikawa Yatsubusa seedling, but check out the sport that will remind you something of Hanasukasa with pink. You see this in here? That is insane. One of the craziest Mikawa Yatsubusa sports I've ever seen. The fact that it has this sort of like Geisha Gone Wild-like appearance, like Hanasukasa, makes me think that this will be something that we can graft successfully and will be less challenging than something like Pinky. I mean, check out this sport in here where you see the green in there, but also the pink on this Mikawa Yatsubusa-like habit. Guys, what do you think we should call this tree right here? Put your suggestions in the comments. That's a pink Mikawa Yatsubusa sport. That's something like Geisha Gone Wild. Something like Hana Tsukasa. It's insane. One of the craziest sports I've ever seen on a Mikawa Yatsubusa. Now, I showed you some cool plants in here. I can't help not bring you down here past a sea of Yukiyama, a sea of Snow Kitten, where we're gonna end out. Is one of the first sports found here at Buckholz Nursery. This is the original Pinky. And as you see here, this is the original seedling that it was found off of. And then here we've got Pinky itself popping across here. That reminds us of something of Acer palmatum geisha. Its tight, dense habit, its pink color is outrageous. We've struggled with production on this. We're hoping that we've started to find a way. We've had some success this past winter, and we're hoping we can replicate it on making this tree where it can be available in the future at some point. You'd have a similar effect with a Mikawa Yatsubusa and a Pinky on the same tree. Something really crazy, something really awesome. Guys, what do you think of this Mikawa Yatsubusa variation video? I know some of y'all probably saw the beginning, you're like, oh, they're walking through some Mikawa seedlings, but it got crazier and crazier and crazier. Y'all, thanks for liking here. Make sure you subscribe, take care, God bless, and have a great day.